Hello everyone, this is Marie and welcome to my rant. Today I'm going to talk about episode 4 of And Just Like That, called Tragically Hip. I want to apologize in advance if my voice is a little raspy. I did test positive for COVID. It seems like the Omicron variant. I'm fairly over it. I'm fully vaccinated. So right now we're just at mild cough, dry throat phase, which I imagine is going to heal up in about a day. This episode starts off with Carrie walking around like a very injured person, or as she puts it, a very old lady. Turns out she has a congenital birth defect that's hurting her hip. She's got old lady hurdy hip. And it's interesting because you get the sense, the way that they are pacing the storytelling, that between each episode several months have passed, but the weather outside, the season always seems to be the same. Not that we're seeing as much New York City in this series as we have in the past, I imagine due to COVID. But at some point, Carrie has gone from walking around all of Manhattan in the highest heels possible to now barely being able to get up her stairs. So I have to assume some time has passed. I also feel this is indicated in sort of these ways that they're hooking her up with attractive men. It seems like they're starting to push her into dating, starting with Seema's hot cousin doctor who indicates that he knows Seema probably gave her his whole dating history. Like that might be a potential mate, and now they're having her being carried around by Anthony's hot fellas and the adorable orthopedic physical therapist at the end. Oh, by the way, again, spoiler alerts. If you're not familiar with my rants, I spoil everything, so I'm telling you it all. One of the things I find interesting about this particular episode is we're starting to get more of a Samantha voice in here. They brought Anthony in as the fourth in the opening lunch sequence. And he's probably the closest fit to a Samantha that you're going to get. And now we have Samantha a little bit over text messages. It's not as satisfying. There's definitely still a Samantha vacuum here. And you really, I could almost have forgotten her and carried on with this new show, but then they brought the text back with Samantha, and now I'm like, yeah, I remember how much better this was with Samantha. I mean, just even like one text brings a balance to this show that it's lacking right now. Like you need the sarcastic asshole to call you out on your bullshit. You just simply do. And there's not enough of it with this group of ladies. We need to have something like her back or Samantha back. Frankly, I'd be very happy if Kim Cattrall came back, not as Samantha, but just as herself, to come out and cuss these people out. But that's just my penchant for drama. In the next scene, we see Charlotte talking to her mom group and finding out that her kid Rose wants to be called Rock now, goes by Rock, and told everybody in the school to call them Rock. And Rock thought this was okay because it was announced on TikTok. And I gotta say, as a stepmother of teenagers, yeah, that's how you find out about what your kids are up to anymore, is you watch TikTok. It is a lot of overprivileged white kids rapping to, or poorly lip syncing to rap songs, but that's where they really express themselves these days. The following scene shows Brady's girlfriend still there at night getting a glass of water while Miranda opens packages. I'm not getting this. Like, did they honestly adopt Brady's girlfriend, why is she like spending the night there? Like she's living there. Like, does this girl not have any parents? That's absolutely bizarre to me. But I absolutely love that Miranda drunk Amazoned herself a get help book about drinking. Whenever I drunk Amazon, I end up with a lot of scissors I don't need. While at the hospital, after Carrie's procedure, we see Miranda having lunch with Che. And, I'm going to get into the whole Che thing right now. Now, this conversation, I've actually had this before. Somebody in my life who is very, very, very close to me is transgender. And they had really bad IBS, all sorts of psychosomatic problems, tinnitus, hurdy back, a lot of things that just, they would go to a doctor for over and over again and really wouldn't get resolved until they didn't really fully come out of the closet. So that's why I'm being a little coquettish about it, but at least, saw a shrink and spoke to the shrink about, their condition, or their real feelings, I should say. And a lot of that stuff like completely cleared up. So the Che conversation rang true, but let's talk about Che as a problem. Che is a problematic person. And I hope they don't give Che a pass just because of the whole transgender thing. Because as it's been clarified over and over in this series, Che is Carrie's boss. Okay? So let's pretend Che was not born a woman. All right, let's pretend Che is entirely a man. And right after hiring Carrie, puts Carrie in an elevator and says she needs to step her pussy up. Let's pretend Che, Carrie's male boss, came over to her house with a bunch of tequila while she was in recovery and finger banged her friend or her caregiver while there. Okay, wouldn't Che, wouldn't you go to HR over this behavior or something? Like, why is Che getting a pass? I'll say this, when this series started, I thought that podcast was going to be the single most tedious thing, and now I'm dying for the next episode of the podcast. What's Carrie gonna say to Che now? And also, hell yeah, I know I ramble and I meander, but let's get into the whole Cynthia Nixon thing too. I don't know if you guys have been following the series sort of in the news or the different comments people have been making, but a couple of things have come to light this week. One is Cynthia Nixon said that she was very reluctant to come in and reprise the role of Miranda again unless they did a whole lot more diversity and inclusion stuff. So I guess a lot of these new characters are because of her. The other issue is Patricia Fields, the woman who was the costume lady for the show and set the fashion for the series. She's not doing this one. Her assistant, the one that helped her out for all these shows, and I'm really bad at this. I forget her name. I'm sorry. I know you guys have told me. My bad. I'm taking a sick girl pass. Okay. But Patricia Fields commented this week about her feelings about the possibility of coming even back to the series, and she's saying that she's doing some sort of Emily in Paris show or some other series right now. But she did mention that, working on Sex and the City was very tough because, as she puts it, Sarah Jessica Parker thinks she knows everything, and she does. But then also, Cynthia Nixon thinks she knows everything, and she doesn't. So there's been some Cynthia Nixon hate this week. A lot of people aren't really thrilled about the new Miranda woke take, and a lot of people are kind of thinking maybe these women on the show was, were bitchy. Maybe Kim Cattrall was right to get the heck on out of there. And now Chris Noth was a problem. The accuser count for Chris Noth is now up to 4, and the woman who was Charlotte's stand-in has been complaining now about his inappropriate behavior during the series. So, maybe there were a lot of problem people on that cast, and finally, you're starting to see the gossip, or starting to hear the gossip, and you're starting to really understand maybe these people didn't get along so well. And how horrifying was that scene? Oh my gosh. Carrie peeing in her bed, or attempting to pee in a Diet Peach Snapple bottle. I can't even imagine. No. It was just, that was rough to watch. And the conversation afterwards, even rougher. How long it took for Miranda to even register what had just happened on her face. She kept saying, "I'm sorry" to Carrie with a big smile on her face. I get she was drunk off tequila and, happy post-coitus, I guess, but still very horrifying and deeply sad when she started saying how she hated her marriage and hated her life. My heart just absolutely broke for Steve at that point. It's really rough stuff, and I'm not looking forward to Steve's reaction when he's going to find out about this, right? I'm also kind of disappointed that the only heterosexual sex on this show that's going on is among 17-year-olds, so I'm hoping that, not all heterosexual sex is banned on this, and maybe we get a little bit more insight into Harry and Charlotte's happy marriage. They're just such a lovely couple. Just something, man. The rest of this is a little depressing. Well, that's it for my brief rant this week. Sorry so quick. Just, busy quarantining and getting better. I hope you guys all have a very safe and healthy new year. And if you're not already, please get vaccinated.